Hello and thank you for being with us once again on the road to Beijing, where our countdown to the big games has passed an important stage. There are now less than 30 days to go until the opening ceremony on August 8th, and in Beijing, anticipation has gone up another notch.
A month to go and they're on the starting blocks. Official sponsors have taken over Beijing, promoting their products with Chinese athletes. But the games are not only about sports.
The excitement is growing compared to 6 months ago.
Everything is improved. The roads, public transportation.
Beijing will not have the last-minute scare Athens had. The 37 Olympic sites are ready to go. And these are the cream of volunteers, those who speak English.
Hope our Olympic Games will be the best in history.
The latest building to open is the tightly secured media center. 30,000 journalists and 5,000 TV stations will cover the Summer Olympics. There's a lounge to de-stress in and an army of hostesses.
This is the first day, but interviews will be forbidden later on.
The Chinese television is already up and running. It will broadcast live throughout the games, a first for China. Security measures are also unprecedented. Ground-to-air missiles protect the sites. The authorities don't want to take any risk.
The guest list for the opening ceremony saw a few additions this week. French President Nicolas Sarkozy has announced that he will be in attendance, ending speculation that he would boycott the ceremony. Sarkozy informed the Chinese president of his decision at this week's G8 summit in Japan, ostensibly satisfied with the progress of talks between Beijing and the Dalai Lama. Our guest this week is B.Laporte, the French Under-Secretary of State for Sport. Hello and thank you for being here on the road to Beijing. The President has made his decision. Considering the situation in Tibet, is it so important to be part of the ceremony?
Yes, I think he did well as French president and also as president of the EU. That's what he said himself.
And the Europeans are not coming, such as Angela Merkel.
But political leaders were unanimous that he should go. Well, when I said everybody, the leaders of Europe.
As member of the French government?
Yes, I'm satisfied that he's going, but there's another point. We're talking about sport. That's extremely important. I've frequently said since the outset, the Olympic Games is the only world event about sport which brings many countries together. It's a real symbol. There are the symbols of the Olympics: fraternity, civic responsibility, transcending one's limits. All the values are borne by sport. So we need to preserve this event. We need to ensure that it continues in the long term, that it continues to exist. If each time we have Olympic Games we mix in politics, then we will tarnish the only event which can build bridges.
Now, you went to China over 2 months ago. You visited the Olympic facilities and you were welcomed by the Chinese authorities. Did you feel that they were hurt of this torch event in France?
Well, yes, they were slightly wounded, but this is the least important issue, the fact that they were wounded. I think they didn't take that much note of it when I met the Minister of Sport. I don't think it was complex to dialogue with them. In fact, it was quite simple. They noted what happened when I explained that it was a minority. In fact, it wasn't even French citizens. It was difficult, badly perceived, but once again, the relationship is good.
You visited the Olympic facilities and the stadium. You said that it was not as impressive as Wembley. This is not going to actually improve our relations with China.
Well, I didn't really say that because I didn't know that. I couldn't say that. What I said was that I visited stadia with the incumbent president, the magnificent stadium with 14,000 places. But what is really impressive is not just the quality of the infrastructure, but the speed with which the whole thing was developed. Because I was there during the presidential visit in November, I returned 6 months later.
And you saw the changes.
And when I saw the changes, I was very impressed.
Just a few words on the French objectives. 40 medals were quite ambitious because the last result was 33 medals, and actually the number tends to go down Now, 40 medals, is that a feasible objective?
Yes, this is the objective. If we want to maintain our 7th position in the world, we analyse the situation with Fabien Cadu, the director for preparation for the Games and the Paralympics. As you were saying, we have fallen by one position in the past. We want to maintain our 7th position, and if we can reach 6th position, that would be good. But we'll want to at least stabilise, and to do so, we need about 40 medals.
You are going to be present there during the Olympic Games. Is that important for the Minister of Sports to be there along with the athletes? And you're a former athlete. You were a trainer at the French rugby team.
Well, you need to put this question to them. It's a privilege and honour for me. I never took part at the Olympic Games. I only watched them from my television set. I'm very pleased to be there, happy to accompany them. This is high-level sport, and it's important to have your coach when you're a high-level athlete, not just the minister, but they're flattered that I'm taking part. But I will also take part at the Paralympic Games, which are very important, in my opinion.
French athletes and sports in general, now, are those athletes well prepared for those Olympic Games? Now, Sarkozy is making reforms in every field. Now, are changes going to be made in the sports sector?
Listen, we're going to analyse the situation, the positives and the negatives. Did we get our 40 medals? Are we better in some sports rather than others? We'll do the analysis of Fadi Kadouk and with the technical directors of the sports federations, and then we will see whether we continue or whether we reform our training programme for high-level sports. We have something which is very important, ENSA, which is the flagship of high-level sports training.
Institute.
And we can seek to develop it in terms of research, high-level performance as well, but let the Games take place and then we'll assess the situation.
Bernard Laporte, French Secretary for Sports, thank you for talking with us. French hopes for success hinge particularly on fencing. France has a long tradition of ascendancy in the art, so much so that Olympic hopefuls travel from the world over to train here in Paris.
Silvio from Venezuela and Sophie from Switzerland, 2 fencers hoping to win medals in Beijing this summer. But until then, they'll train in France, the capital of fencing, a private club and a legendary fencing master, Daniel Levavasseur, who trained the greatest fencers in the world.
The main reason I'm here in France is fencing and Daniel Levavasseur, who's a world-famous coach. I really wanted to train with him.
Levavasseur knows who has the capability of becoming a champion. Sophie Lamon was only 15 when she won the silver medal in Sydney.
The willpower of these fencers is superhuman. They have to drop everything to come to France, to another culture, another environment. They suffer and make huge sacrifices, so they're hungrier than anyone else.
Thanks to Levavasseur, Silvio Fernandez has become the #1 ranked épée fencer in the world. The Venezuelan government supports him entirely. It pays for his accommodation, his club and his daily spendings. For him, France is the place to train.
Fencing coaching in France is much more professional. Also, athletes here can strike a balance between sport and their careers. In Venezuela, you're expected to devote 100% of your time to the sport.
So Silvio's able to work as a lawyer in the Venezuelan embassy, and Sophie can do a business degree. A proof that in this sport of tactics, the intellectual side is as important as the physical.
And that's it for this week's edition. Until next time, goodbye.